The man pressed a piece of human skin onto his rotting face, then injected a strange liquid. In the next second, the scars on his face began to heal fast, but the terrifying part was that the healing spread straight toward his mouth. In the blink of an eye, his upper and lower lips fused together. The man instantly realized something was wrong. He hurried to flip through his research notes, searching for a cure, but the healing was too fast. He had no time. In panic, he grabbed a scalpel. By now, his mouth was fully sealed. To avoid suffocating to death, he slashed his face open. "Come quickly!" But when his face was sealed shut again, the man collapsed to the ground forever. In a flash, 10 years passed. The little girl from before had grown into an 18-year-old young woman. She too carried the scarred face passed down from her father. Her name was Xiaowei. Since she had to attend school in the city, Xiaowei decided to stay at her aunt's house. At her aunt's lived another cousin named Angela, the same age as her. But Xiaowei often felt reserved because every time she saw other girls' beautiful faces, she felt a deep sense of shame. Her only dream was to become a scientist like her father. She hoped one day she could finish the research her father left behind. Maybe then her scarred face could be cured. Because of that, she studied with extreme focus in class. The science teacher valued her talent greatly, even naming her as his lab assistant. The first time Xiaowei entered the lab, she was thrilled because she could finally continue her father's transplant research. But as she carefully flipped through her father's notebook, the science teacher silently appeared behind her. Out of curiosity, the teacher peeked at her notes. What he saw shocked him. He acted calm on the surface, but once home that night, he pored over Xiaowei's research. The more he read, the more he was stunned. The very next day, he rushed to find Xiaowei and suggested they work together to finish the experiment. He told her that two minds would make progress faster. Xiaowei knew the teacher might have selfish motives, but in order to speed up the research, she nodded in agreement. Soon they were back in the lab, going through her father's notes together. The teacher thought that if this transplant study succeeded, his name would shake the whole medical world. With the teacher's support, Xiaowei worked even harder. One day, her research finally reached a breakthrough. To test the new formula, Xiaowei cut a small piece of skin from her own thigh. Then she placed the skin back onto the wound and injected the mysterious medicine. To her amazement, the skin healed before her eyes. Unbeknownst to her, the science teacher had witnessed it all from the office. He had come there with Eve for a secret meeting and never expected Xiaowei to still be working late. Curious, he told Eve to stay quiet and went to see Xiaowei's experiment. But while he looked, Eve secretly snapped photos and sent them to Angela, Xiaowei's cousin. When Angela saw the pictures, her jealousy exploded because she had feelings for the teacher. Eve, however, had no idea about their secret triangle. She thought Xiaowei was trying to seduce him. On the surface, Eve acted normal, but inside she was burning with envy. To avoid being misunderstood, Xiaowei hurried out of the lab, forgetting her most important notebook. Later, Eve tricked Xiaowei into coming to a deserted place, warning her to stay away from the teacher or face the consequences. She even mocked Xiaowei as a hideous freak. Xiaowei felt humiliated. Meanwhile, at home, Angela was already furious. When she saw Xiaowei's note, she completely snapped. By the time Xiaowei returned, she found her father's memorial table smashed to pieces. It was a deep insult to her father. But Angela didn't apologize. Instead, she ordered Xiaowei to get out of her house. In the struggle that followed, Angela was stabbed to death. Xiaowei panicked. She had never killed before. For a moment she froze, but soon she calmed down. She decided to transplant Angela's pretty face onto her own. She had the new serum right on her, so she went for it. Xiaowei picked up a scalpel, cutting a circle of wounds around her face. Then she peeled off Angela's skin, injected the strange medicine, and pressed Angela's face over her own. What happened? Xiaowei was confused. She wore Angela's face, but her tone and manner were completely different. Her aunt thought it was just Angela sulking, never suspecting the truth. Xiaowei trembled with fear, worried she would be exposed. But the aunt hugged her tightly, comforting her. believing she was still Angela. She never realized her real daughter's body lay hidden right under the bed. To adjust to Angela's life, Xiaowei watched her cousin's old videos again and again, copying her every word and gesture. She even mimicked her style of dressing and the way she walked. The next day, Xiaowei walked into school as Angela. No one noticed a thing. She was thrilled. But suddenly, a curly-haired boy ran up and hugged her. Before she could react, he kissed her. In that instant, Xiaowei realized he must be Angela's secret boyfriend. Watching the curly-haired boy walk away, Xiaowei felt the taste of love for the very first time. After school, the two went to the back hill for a date. He whispered sweet words of romance, and the long-repressed Xiaowei sank into it completely. In that moment, she was like a hungry wolf. But suddenly, the boy froze. The face of Angela in front of him began to bleed non-stop. When Xiaowei's true face showed, the terrified boy stumbled off the cliff and fell to his death. Only then did Xiaowei realize the serum had a time limit. After 24 hours, the transplanted skin would peel away on its own. Back home, she searched for her father's notes, but they were nowhere to be found. She had forgotten them in the lab, and by now the science teacher had already taken them. With no choice, Xiaowei injected more of the strange medicine to reattach Angela's face. Then she returned to the lab to retrieve her notebook. But the teacher openly admitted he would claim the discovery as his own. Xiaowei was crushed and furious. As she thought of how to get her notes back, she saw Eve downstairs. A bold idea struck her. Pretending to be Angela's close friend, Xiaowei invited Eve to her home for dinner. Staring at Eve's fair skin and beautiful looks, Xiaowei couldn't wait any longer. That night, she brought Eve home and quickly locked every door and window. By now, Xiaowei's mouth and eyes looked terrifying. She stared at Eve like a hunter sizing up prey. She told Eve to wait while she went upstairs to get something special. Uneasily, Eve secretly followed. But inside the room, the false Angela revealed her cruel face. Eve panicked and bolted for the door, only to run the wrong way and end up in the backyard. The iron gate was locked tight. With nowhere to run, she hid behind a tree, watching Angela's shadow moving behind the curtain. Desperate, she slipped into the pool, hoping to hide underwater. Holding her breath, Eve clutched her mouth in fear. But Xiaowei came with a power drill, scanning the poolside. Bubbles floated up from under the water. Xiaowei squatted down, grabbed Eve's hair, and dragged her out. In less than a minute, Eve was drilled to death. Soon after, Xiaowei transplanted Eve's skin onto herself. To fully become her, she copied her sensual style, even painting her nails the same way. When she walked the streets, no one could tell the difference. But since Angela had been missing for days, the police began investigating at school. Seeing them made her uneasy. To retrieve her notes quickly, Xiaowei disguised herself as Eve and went to the science teacher's house. He had no suspicion at all, only a man's lust. While he went to work, Xiaowei searched the house, but the notebook was still missing. In the lab, the teacher had already finished the research using her notes. His formula perfectly fused skin together. The teacher was ecstatic. When he got home, he wanted to celebrate. He opened a hidden cabinet and pulled out a bag of milk powder. But this move gave away his secret hiding place. Xiaowei immediately understood. She found the newly developed serum hidden underneath. Looking at her own peeling face in the mirror, she grabbed the vial, made an excuse, and hurried out. Watching Eve rush away, the teacher sensed something wrong. He checked the cabinet and discovered the serum was gone. Back at home, Xiaowei's skin had already peeled off, leaving her once again with Angela's face. But she knew the teacher's serum worked perfectly. Just then, a friend dropped by. A curly-haired girl noticed Angela was wearing Eve's dress and found it odd. She thought Angela might be suffering from some trauma. To comfort her, she offered to cook a nice dinner. But when she opened the fridge, Xiaowei struck again, smothering her to death with plastic wrap. Meanwhile, the science teacher had secretly entered Xiaowei's house. He saw her kneeling before her father's memorial altar, and at that moment he realized the truth. "That was my father's work. My father spent his whole life on it."
The teacher then walked to the fridge, trying to take back his formula. But when he opened it, the sight inside left him horrified. To punish him for stealing her father's legacy, Xiaowei used the skin grafting technique on him. His screams filled the air, loud enough to alert the old woman next door. Just as Xiaowei was lost in the thrill of her crime, the neighbor burst inside. Knowing she was exposed, Xiaowei fled. Police quickly arrived after the report. Spotting her running, they gave chase. Xiaowei darted into the underground tunnels. Spotting a homeless man nearby, she rushed into his arms to hide. But in the struggle, the serum in her bag shattered. What happened next was terrifying. Under the drug's effect, Xiaowei's body fused with the homeless man's. The two twisted into a single monstrous being. She escaped the police that night, but from then on, she was no longer human.